Welcome to another episode of the BLS podcast. I'm David Choi.
I'm Gilbert 3 Stars.
I'm Jordan Lee.
I'm Joseph Terry.
And I'm Emily Witten.
And today we're going to be having our story time podcast. So the way this works is that each person tells a story from their lives. It can be something interesting, something funny, and so.
It's gonna be great.
Let's get into it.
Okay, I'll start it off. This is the summer of 6th grade before entering 6th year, and I had like this YouTube channel, right? And I uploaded semi-regularly to it, and so my friend had come over to my house one day, and we decided to make this video in which we put our cats in a box, threw them off the second floor porch, and ran them over with a car.
How sadistic!
Why?
How sadistic!
We thought it'd be funny, but anyway, so what we decided to do was we'd put the cats in the box, we'd film that, and then we'd cut to a scene of throwing the box, obviously the empty box, off the porch.
Obviously.
Oh my
You had to
God.
make
Animal
sure
cruelty.
you say that.
Yeah, so we, and then the third part of it would be to load the box up with a bunch of ketchup packets, and get my dad to run over the box with his car.
Would your dad have been aware?
My dad knew, and
Okay.
he was okay with it.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
Oh no.
So we got the cats in the box, took them out, threw the box off the porch, and then we spent a little time putting the ketchup packets inside the box, and my dad ran it over, and there's a bunch of ketchup on the sidewalk, and we cleaned up most of it, but there's still some of it left on the sidewalk, right? So we thought it'd be funny if we wrote "Help me" with the ketchup, and so we just wrote "Help me" on the sidewalk, and I went to sleep, and the next day there was a police car outside of my house, and I was wearing my BLS hoodie. I had to go down there and explain to him that it was just a prank,
Just a prank?
and
That's what everyone says.
and the cop was really cool. He's like, "Oh, you went to BLS? I went to BLS too."
Oh, so
that's cool.
unfair.
Yeah.
Bias.
Wow.
And I was let out scot-free, basically. So that's my story.
Can I find this YouTube video?
No,
Online?
it
Okay.
was scrapped.
Oh, darn.
What?
Weird question. How many ketchup packets were inside the bag? Or
Oh, it was
box?
a lot. It was like 50 to 100.
Oh.
How do you get...
It was
That
about as
amount.
much as I would use in a single lunch period with burgers.
No, I'm pretty sure I got them from either like
Burger King?
No, I think it was a Dunkin' Donuts, because there's a Dunkin' Donuts in JP.
Better.
No,
Yeah, I'm not.
taking all. Just imagine, young Gilbert, pre-60 Gilbert, just like going into Dunkin' Donuts, grabbing their entire thing of ketchup
Their entire
packets and just dumping it into a box or something.
And then just leaving.
And then just leaving and then hitting another store to get a ketchup.
This
run.
isn't important, but it wasn't actually Dunkin' Donuts. Small correction, it was the movie theater.
Oh.
That
Yeah.
makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
How?
Yeah, they have ketchup for
It makes more sense to steal ketchup from a movie theater than a Dunkin' Donuts.
It wasn't what made more sense. We just thought of the video, so it was like, okay,
So much ketchup.
yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
Okay, my story consists of me and my friend, and a group of our friends actually, coming back home from a trip to Canopy Lake Park when we were in our adolescent years. Okay, so we had all that fun, on the roller coasters and all those rides. We had good stuff to eat, it was a pretty fun time. Okay, so we were, so we took the car back home, and then we couldn't get entirely back home because there was this point where we had to leave our car, and then we had to walk back home. I don't know if that makes sense or anything, but yeah, we had to walk our way back home. And then we were thinking, walking is pretty boring. How do we make our trip back home a little bit more entertaining for ourselves and fun, right? And then we see... And the streets were obviously really crowded on that summer night because people like enjoying their lonely lives outside on summer nights. Okay, so the streets were really crowded, And me and my friend here thought of this crazy idea, this abnormal idea to ask random people on the streets for toilet paper. Yes. And we didn't tell them our purpose, so that was probably like the reason why everyone just ignored us.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's my story. And okay, should I explain the should I go into detail of what happened?
Yeah, go
Sure.
into detail.
Okay.
Okay, so for every single person that walked by, we would ask them. We would have to build up our courage and go straight up to them and look them eye to eye and ask them this question: do you have any toilet paper? Okay? We would ask the question, and 100% of the time, they would just keep on walking. We were ignored on that day, and from that day on, we lost all our sense of morality because we were not appreciated, and our question wasn't valued as
Aw.
Sounds like
weren't
sounds
valued
like
in their
the-
lives.
Like the exposition for like a superhero villain.
Ooh, yeah, to fight against mankind because we were ignored.
What sounded like the most difficult was just making eye contact.
Yeah.
Like that just sounded awful,
Or like, what if the
having to
response?
make eye contact
It's
with a
like going
stranger.
That's difficult.
Like what if it was actually Bill Gates and we were oblivious to, who he was and all that, and then he was like walking by and we asked him, like, do you think his status in society would have influenced his response?
Maybe.
I don't know.
No.
David.
He would have said yes. That's what.
David,
What? Yeah.
do you have any toilet paper?
I do not.
Toilet paper is so out of the ordinary. I don't know why we thought of toilet paper. I think it's just for the laughs.
Yeah, alright,
Yeah.
so, here's my story. So, when I was, 2 years ago, I went to, the west of the United States. And,
Westy.
because my aunt lives there. And, we sort of just, drove around, most of the west. Because we didn't really have a clear place to go. Because we were kind of,
Hobos.
pretty much. I mean,
Okay.
anyways, yeah. So, we were just kind of driving around, through the states. And, we went to Idaho. Don't go to Idaho.
Don't go there.
Idaho's, yeah, that's really
There are
about
too
it.
many potatoes.
So, we were in Idaho, and,
Irish are jealous.
she lives in, Truckee, California. So, we had to drive there, literally a 14-hour drive from California to Idaho. And, when we were in Idaho, we had to wait for a construction guy. And that construction guy started talking to us about Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Wait.
Because he dropped out of school in 8th grade
Oh.
to play Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Wow.
Wait, was he like a professional?
No.
Wait,
No.
what is a Tony Hawk Pro
It's a
Skater?
game.
It's a video game from, the early 2000s.
Oh.
It's a pretty awesome
So
soundtrack.
you didn't play Fortnite? That's surprising.
Yeah. But he couldn't really read. And, it was kind of depressing.
That's super sad.
Yeah, it was actually pretty sad. But, at least, and he was saying, the only place to get a job in, Idaho is, as a construction person.
Would you hire
Or a
someone
potato
as
farmer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you hire someone as a construction worker if they didn't know how to read, guys?
I mean, if you're just literally
You have to
just,
know math to be
stopping
a
people
construction worker,
on the road.
for sure.
But, yeah, so that happened. And then there was, a couple other weird stuff happened.
Oh.
In Idaho, there's all these weird ranches, on rivers in the middle of nowhere. It kind of makes you think, why the hell would you put a ranch in the middle of nowhere?
Land is
I don't
free.
know. I don't know what they're doing on these ranches. But, yeah, it's just, they're in the middle of nowhere.
Property tax.
So it's
might
pretty
be
weird.
lowered.
And, yeah. So, anyways. So that was pretty strange.
Wait, so your experience was that you saw a lot of ranches out of nowhere?
Yeah, pretty much
Mm.
that. And then also, there
So
was,
detailed.
one
So
time
good.
we were, driving. And, there were these Starbucks. And then all of a sudden, there was a canyon.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, who put a canyon next to a Starbucks? Or, more
Joe!
importantly, who put a Starbucks next to a canyon?
No, I think it's the other way around. I think it's
Who puts a
there.
canyon near a star next
And,
to a
somebody
Starbucks?
died there. I'm not sure why. Or no, I'm pretty sure why. But,
I'm pretty
I'm not really
sure
sure,
why.
how they died. They just were, had, a car or something, a medical examiner and something like that.
You guys call 911.
No, there was, they were already there.
Did you see the guy?
Sort of. He was in, an ambulance and, getting loaded into an
I feel like
ambulance.
the guy you were talking about would not
And-
call 911. He would call 119.
Why?
He was
Get
a
raped.
because he was.
Oh no,
eroded.
no, this was me. This wasn't this guy.
He was
But yeah,
eroded.
so that was a pretty weird trip. The Western U.S. is very strange.
So wait, so he just did he try and jump off a canyon?
I think he either did that or he was like rafting. And,
Wait,
like,
where was
flipped
he?
over.
Like,
He was in the river, but they
oh,
pulled him out.
So, but is the canyon like really big, like
really,
the
really
Grand?
high.
Yeah. So then, how you were able to see the person from?
We were on a bridge.
Oh.
Oh,
Because they're right next to a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Oh, also it's super hot.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's true.
I know.
Yeah. So
Was it in the
anyways,
south?
That's super weird. Like
yeah.
it's like a whole different cultural experience, even though it's like, in the same country.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and if like some person like people from the West that come to like Boston or like these Eastern areas, they might feel the same too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. People dress better out there.
Okay.
Ooh, are you like criticizing
I
how
don't know.
people dress?
They just do. Like they dress like
Is
fancier.
this tying in with the dress code?
No, they just
In
dress
BLS?
fancier and they just like dress like they dress kind of like hipsters do here, but like everyone dresses like that.
Oh.
Anyways, so do you have a story?
Oh yeah. So this entire time I've been having difficulties trying to figure out something important or funny in my life, and I finally figured one out. So, 60 me, right? First day of school, after orientation week.
Oh, it's, those stories are always funny because we're always able to relate with them.
Well, it wasn't even happening in BLS. It was okay. So, it's the first day I was taking public transportation, and I got on the train, and I think around Green Street, this guy.
There's a Green Street.
Yeah.
From Orange Lane.
So it's
Oh.
like Forest Hills, Green Street, blah blah blah.
Such creative names.
Well, there's this guy that gets onto Green Street. I can only see his back, right? And then my mom and me, we're getting off at Ruggles. And I have to pass the guy, so I tap his shoulder, and he turns to me. And that's when I see his shirt. This shirt
He was blocking your way.
is, the front of his shirt is sheer. I can see everything. Everything.
2 questions. Was he blocking your way so much to the point that you had to tap on him and engage in physical contact?
Mhm.
And second, female or male?
Man,
Oh,
luckily. But
okay.
this guy. Wait, I'm not even sure if it would be lucky because at least a woman would have something covering, hopefully. But this guy, I saw everything. There's hair, there were nipples, there was.
But you see that all the time on social
There was
media.
everything though.
Why does it surprise you? Like,
I'm not on social
were you just
media
that young?
much.
Was that? Were you
I was
just that
16
young?
I had a flip phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
What a
It
baller.
was
Did you not swim with your dad?
traumatizing.
Seeing someone's. Okay. I'm not ever gonna ask.
It was awful.
Okay.
Okay.
I guess I'll go now. So,
Yeah.
So this is actually a pretty recent story. This took place last summer, and it occurred when I went to Utah for 2 weeks to visit a family friend. They had a son who was about my age. They actually lived in Boston for a while, or not Boston, but just Massachusetts for a while, and then they moved to Utah because they found work there or something. And
No, they just hated Massachusetts.
I don't know, maybe. But I've met them before. Their son was, I mean, he was kind of annoying, but he was alright. But last time I saw him was like quite a few years ago, so I didn't really know what to expect from going to Utah, because we were actually going to be staying with them for the whole 2 weeks. And
I know where this is going.
so the moment we came to their house, it looked like a castle. It was really big. It had like, I don't know, really big basement, and yeah. So I thought like, wow, this.
He's focusing on the basement.
Yeah, he was
guys.
describing the basement.
I'm describing
as
the basement
thing
because
that
that's
makes
where I
sense.
spent most of my time.
Oh,
Oh,
because
no.
like that's where the guest rooms were and stuff. So
the basement.
yeah.
That's some guest room in a castle.
That's
Yeah,
some
so-
way to treat your guests and family members, right? Put them inside the
The,
basement.
Okay.
the basement had a kitchen in it. That's like how big it was.
Mm.
So like when I first came in, I was like, wow, this trip is gonna be awesome. You know, I'm gonna have so much fun here. And then I meet the kid that I thought I met like 2 years ago.
You knew 2 years ago?
He was terrible. So
Go on!
First of all, he's just a really arrogant kid.
Okay.
He's the type of kid who goes like, "Wow, I'm really good at fighting. I can beat both you and your brother in a 2v1." And
In what?
in like in a
2v1.
fist fight, like 2v1, like. So I'm just thinking like, what is wrong with this kid?
David,
That sounds like so many people
would hit
in
him-
our grade.
Peter would hit him with the body slam.
Cause like first of all, he's like I don't know, he's a little shorter than me.
That's ironic.
And another thing I noticed was that he only watches Minecraft Let's Plays and Jake Paul.
Oh.
So that was really upsetting. And
Wait, so when was this?
this was last summer.
Oh. Okay, so he's like, he watched Jake Paul in the early days. He's an early adapter.
But like the thing is that he tries to pretend that he doesn't like them. It's like, oh, I only watch Minecraft Let's Plays and Jake Paul because I'm really bored and I really don't even like that stuff, but I just do it because there's nothing else to do. But you can tell that he's definitely lying, and I just had to deal with all this for 2 weeks.
What kind of an excuse is that? Like, oh, there's nothing else. It's YouTube.
I have no idea.
You know what we could title this? We could title this episode, I went face to face with a Jake Pauler.
And
That'd be great.
Wait, was Jake Paul popular back then?
Back then.
He released his Everyday Bro in like last year, so that was out when I went to Utah.
So it wasn't that long ago.
But what was even worse was that my phone broke on the first day of getting to Utah because I don't know what happened. I think I like fell on top of it or something, and the screen cracked. It was completely unusable. So I couldn't like hide in the bathroom, like lock myself in there, just like just be on my phone for like 3 hours. So I had to stay with him, and we went to like a bunch of national parks and stuff. He's like so arrogant that he like tries to like show how good he is at climbing by like just like climbing random things that just he climbed like on top of a like a restroom.
Wait,
building
what?
thing. And he's like, "Wow, look at me, I'm so cool."
What?
And it was
Did he actually say that? If he actually said that, that would be so much better.
Like, I don't know.
Joe's falling apart.
He really made me hate Utah, and I don't like saying this because I don't.
hate Utah.
You're general.
I don't want to
generalizing
stereotype
one
like
person.
Utah on one person.
Yes, exactly.
But because of him, I do not want to go back to Utah.
Can you tell us more? I
You know
can
how
just
you call
imagine
people
more
who
stories.
come from California Californians?
Yeah.
What would you call people who come from Utah?
Utahns.
Utahns. Utahns.
So yeah, I was going through so much hell that like I was actually wanting to like come back here and go to school.
Was he that bad? Okay. What would we do in your situation? I would try to, understand why.
I would put him in his place with Mario Kart.
I would learn more of his past and,
You would just
get
like
to
stalk him.
really understand why he behaves the way he does in the present.
Figure out how he ticks, and then
Nobody does that.
What?
Well, yeah. So that's pretty
Search him
much-
up on some of these. Search him up on Google. Make sure he isn't some
So yeah.
psychological impaired.
So that's pretty much my
That's
story.
too far.
Yeah. So
did you see any ranches when you were in Utah?
I did not. Okay, so that has been it for the Storytime podcast. I heard some interesting stories, especially you, Gilbert. I didn't know that you were the kind of guy to get into some
Help
beef.
me.
I think you actually did. But okay.
Gilbert
So-
had the only really really funny story where there was a twist. Cops. Wow, that's a wild.
Yeah, like
Nice.
nothing eventful happened in hours.
But yeah, that has been it for the podcast. So if you've enjoyed, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe.
His
Yeah,
outro.
and if you'd like to join the club, you can always email us at blspodcastclub@gmail.com. We're always accepting new members, and so.
Hit that
And-
subscribe button.
And
guys.
we didn't put any restraints on what we said,
Smash it.
so.
Yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.